Great. Well, hello, Chris, and hello, everybody else. I am honored to introduce our very first speaker this morning, and he is Chris O'Gwyn with the Department of Energy. And for those of you who are not familiar, the DOE works with over 2,000 Phase 1 and Phase 2 grant applications on an annual basis. The DOE is responsible for north of $205 million in grants. And of that 2,000 or more of that, about 400 Phase 1 and Phase 2 grants are awarded each year relative to that $205 million. Mr. O'Gwyn is the Commercialization Outreach and Assistance Program Manager at the DOE. And Chris, I am honored to welcome you. You're on, and we're looking forward to a exciting presentation, and there will be plenty of time, we know, for Q&A. I know that there will be a lot of questions. So Chris, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Well, thanks, Martin, and I appreciate the invite and all the work that you and Misty and everyone else has done there. We always do enjoy speaking out to as many folks as we can in either our, underrepresented groups of applicants and awardees, and those are underrepresented states. California certainly is not an underrepresented state by any means. It's our largest state in terms of awards. I think of more than anywhere between 18 to 20% of both Phase 1 and Phase 2 awards come from California residents. That includes both Northern California and of course Southern California. But so thank you. And what I'll do is I'm just going to walk you through some of what makes DOE, I think, DOE in terms of its SBIR, STTR. What I like to do is give a little bit of context for where we are. I know Martin said we were a little north of $205 million. I think even the chart that you're seeing here, we're the third block on down, we're the fourth block on down, no, third, I'm sorry. And it says 280 million. We're actually now in 2021, I guess a little over $308 million. So we are going up in terms of our SBIR, STTR budget. And we are able to offer larger award sizes and numbers of awards. So you can look to see for more opportunity in that regard as well. I like to put this chart up in terms of context because I think it's good to see that the two McGillas on the block are Health and Human Services and the DOD. I mean, they make up well over $2 billion worth of the SBIR's funding, STTR, SBIR, and STTR. Health and Human Services is primarily a granting agency, and DOD is primarily a contracting agency, and there's a big difference. And I think it's important that everybody understands that there's considerable difference in the way the agencies administer their SBIR and STTR programs. And so when I talk to you today, it's basically to kind of give you some more in depth as to what we are looking for and why are we looking for what we do. And the same goes for Health and Human Services. They have 24 institutes. DOD has 11 different agencies that participate in SBIR, STTR. Some of us do grants and some of us do contracts. And the difference primarily is that grants are financial instruments where we are looking for you to do some research for us in support of what we do, what our mission might be about. Contracts, we want you to do, for example, DOD is all about the warfighter, and they're looking for you to hit the ground with some type of product. Let's say a blood coagulant for the warfighter at the end of Phase 2 that you can then start to manufacture and provide as quickly as possible. We're not looking for that. We're looking for you to support our research, and that's what the difference is, I think, from a granting versus a contracting agency. So what are we all about? So DOE is all about ensuring America's security and prosperity. And I think just about every mission statement you read out there says that's what we're all about. But where we fall into our niche, it's all about addressing the energy, environmental, and the nuclear issues that that we face as a nation. And the way we do that, because we are a mission-driven agency, we've got 3 goals that we address. And those goals have very specific pushes for what we are looking for and are what we're trying to achieve. And we do that through very different ways in our research and development. And so this first goal here, it's color-coded green. These 5 offices that you see here, they are offices, but they're program offices, but they're referred to as programs. So they all are part of this first goal. And I think the better you understand what the mission of the department is and what the mission of the programs are and how they interrelate with each other, the better you are able to understand and maybe write a competitive proposal that is responsive to what we are looking for. As opposed to somebody who says, yes, I'm all about renewable energy, I'm going to submit a proposal to this topic, and I'm just going to, hope for the best. But I think you can always hope for the best, but I think you certainly need to be prepared and do a little due diligence yourself and better understand what you're trying to achieve. So we have 12 research programs, and these 5 are all about this first goal. These are our clean energy programs, and I'll briefly discuss them in just a second, but I wanted to point out all of our programs. We are a large basic science research agency, and we've got 6 programs specifically that are a part of that goal. And overall, the vast majority, 2/3 of the funding for the SBIR STTR program comes from these 6 basic science research programs. So you certainly want to keep those in mind when you're looking through our topics documents. Even if you're doing something that might be related to renewable energy or fossil energy or nuclear energy, what you'll find frequently are some of these programs are in 2 different sets of releases of topics that we put out each year. And but it might not be evident to you that it is that program you think you are looking for. It may be funded by another program. And again, I'll touch upon that in just a second. So what you see here is our last goal. It's our legacy goal. It's our goal. It's all about what the Department of Energy was about in the very beginning. Through the Atomic Energy Commission, we were, through our national labs, we were a huge part of manufacturing and the deployment of our nation's nuclear weapons with the DOD and domestically around the country. So we maintain that stockpile now. And most of our budget at the Department of Energy, not research budget, but most of the budget goes into this goal 3, our legacy, cleaning up those waste sites. And you'll find topics that might be related a little bit to that as well. So these are the 12 programs, and I'll just give you an idea a little bit about each of them. So the Office of Cybersecurity, Energy Security, and Emergency Response used to be part of, as only a year ago, it was part of our Office of Electricity. Politically and for whatever reasons, this office split out the cybersecurity and energy security part of it, and created its own office. It was already a small office as the Office of Electricity, so the funding level is not that great, but overall is not as large as some of the other research programs. But the topics in this office are primarily centered on just the energy security and the cybersecurity of our nation's grid. So you'll find topics, a couple topics from this office that are associated just with these areas. So then our Office of Electricity, what are they all about now? So they're all about modernizing the grid, including improving the reliability of it. And overall, they do prepare for disruptions as well, but they are ultimately some of the topics that they try to put out are to make the grid smarter, make it more efficient, try to make it current, try to make it all connected in a way that's not haphazard as it has been put together over the last 75, 80 years. So they are about really modernizing the grid and looking at it from a different perspective than what we had been in decades past. So the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, this is what everybody thinks the Department of Energy is all about. And even as recently as a couple weeks ago, I was giving a webinar, and the Small Business Development Center thought that we were all about maintaining the street lights around the nation. And we're not. We don't really have anything to do with that at all. We do sponsor technologies that might be involved with that, but we certainly are not doing anything that local municipalities are involved in that regards. But we do have a lot of stuff, a lot of research and development. So what they're doing, what energy efficiency and renewable energy is all about, is funding R&D for using this type of energy more efficiently, as well as developing more renewable energy technologies. So some of the examples of these R&D areas include more efficient buildings, HVAC, the building envelope, the lighting. How do we keep it and make it more efficient? How do we make it more integrated and connected, the systems connected with one another? More efficient vehicles, hybrid vehicle technologies, battery technologies, more efficient advanced industrial processes that we get involved in. And of course, the basic renewable that you see right there: solar, geothermal, wind, water, biofuels, and also geothermal technologies, if I didn't mention that. Office of Fossil Energy is all about using our carbon-based fuels more efficiently and effectively, trying to use them in a more cleaner manner. Carbon sequestration falls into this area. So that's where you're going to find topics about what they're involved with here. Our Office of Nuclear Energy is all about focusing on ensuring the nation's nuclear reactors are operating as safely as possible. So they our power plants, they're developing safe and cost-effective reactors for future deployment. Now, I've been with the agency for over 30 years now, and they've been saying that for many years, that we would be trying to bring on future reactors, or reactors for future deployment. And it's moving very slowly, very, very much so, as our fusion energy sciences program is moving slowly. We still seem to be 50 years out in regards to that type of technology and it being a viable energy source. But it is what it is. Our advanced scientific computing research, now we're moving into a more of our basic science. It's the blue goal here, that it's all about science and engineering. This is the one program that it goes across. It's a cross-cutting program, and it's all about high performance computing and networking, addressing some of the most challenging research issues that we might have. And so there we have simulation issues that we do, whether it's for nuclear testing or for many other applications that we don't have the research methods yet to develop to detect what we're trying to detect. So we do a lot of advanced simulation, a lot of data analysis, a lot of big data. Internet of Things falls into this area. So you'll find topics that this program funds across several of the other programs as well. And then to keep us moving here, Basic Energy Sciences, the largest program in the SBIR program by far. It's over $2 billion program, and BES is all about funding the development of advanced user facilities at our 10 national labs that we have. These facilities use X-rays, neutrons, and electrons to probe the structure of matter and the nature of that. And so there's a lot of advanced X-ray spectroscopy going on in these areas. So there's a lot of advanced technologies, next generation analytical capabilities going on here. This program is another one that funds other applied research in regards to advanced materials and other energy industries. So you'll find them funding fossil energy research, nuclear energy research, well, there's a couple others. I can't remember off the top of my head here, but they're a big funder of these programs because they have it's all basic science research funding that they have, so they need to put it into an applied area that fits in a complementary way with what they're doing on the basic side. Biological and environmental research is all about the production of biofuels as well as environmental research, subsurface research. You'll find a lot of sensor technology here. It's about contamination, detecting contamination and fate, and the transport of what we might be tracking through the soil. We also have atmospheric monitoring as well. Fusion energy sciences, high energy physics, and nuclear physics. These all involve fundamental physics research. They're kind of what I call our niche programs. People are research who are involved in this from the very early days of their career all the way up until they retire are usually the folks that seem to get involved with these three programs. So they're really looking at the particle level of research, and what you might find here are a lot of topics in regards to their accelerator research. So I'm going to, so we can look at these last two. The Office of Defense Nuclear Nonproliferation is part of the National Nuclear Security Administration, and the NNSA is exempt from the DOE SBIR, STTR programs for the most part because it's a nuclear defense related mission. But they do have a piece of what they do that's not classified, and it's all about focusing on detecting and preventing the illicit transfer of nuclear materials across our borders, whether it be materials, weapons, so they do remote detection of nuclear detonations, and a lot of sensing technology you'll find in these topics right here. So it's a very large program at the DOE, but it's a very small part of the SBIR program. And environmental management is all about cleaning up those, decommissioning, cleaning up those sites around the nation where we were manufacturing weapons for many, many decades. And again, a huge budget at the DOE, not necessarily the largest research budget, but a large operational budget that goes from there. So all in all, what I'm really putting out here for you is that folks look at our topics and they say, these are very specific. These are kind of narrow. They're not like the National Science Foundation that has a topic called good ideas. And you just, if you got a good idea, you're like, that's for me. I've got a good idea. At DOE, what we're looking for is for you to support that, the department's research, and you would be that if we provided you a grant. You are supporting very much so the mission of the Department of Energy, and you're supporting the department's program that is supporting that mission. And then you take it down deeper, there's a very specific program manager that is working on trying to address a piece of the puzzle that you are involved with. So the better you understand the programs, the department's mission, even the budget and the program manager's role within that, and you can learn that all on our website. We've got it all there. It's all transparent. You can find budgets. You can dig down as deep as you want to go, and you'll have a great idea of what we do. And knowing all this, I believe, makes you a much more competitive applicant for any of our topics that we have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, let me see what my time is, a little bit here on our programs, okay, and what again, now getting into the SBIR aspect of supporting the department's missions. Just quickly, we are a kind of a decentralized way of of doing SBIR at DOE and STTR. We have well over 100 program managers up in that top left box there that are involved with developing topics. They identify the reviewers. They're the ones who are making the award determinations on what they will fund and why they will fund it. And they ultimately will manage those projects. The office over on the right are the people that you would get involved with once you have been selected for an award. They will negotiate the grants. They will issue anything in regards to contract, in regards to the grants, from the initial negotiation all the way up until grant closeout. My office at the very bottom, I work for Manny Oliver. He is the director of our program, and I'm involved in conducting outreach and doing webinars such as this. Going on road tours, meeting with you and having one-on-one discussions and helping you better understand what topics might be available for your innovation and ideas. But we also are the office where all of these, where all the proposals come into. We are the ones who do the logistics for all of the thousands of reviewers that we have every year reviewing our proposals. And we are also the ones who are providing all the communication to you and to all of our program managers. And so we're the voice and the administrator of the actual SBIR program at DOE. A little different if you go to the NSF, since I'm picking on them today. The National Science Foundation they have 12 managers that do everything from soup to nuts. They do all this together. They're kind of a jack of all trades. So they're involved in the reviews. They're involved in finding the panels to review proposals. They're involved with the commercialization. They're involved with everything involved that you kind of see right here. They're all about that. We've got well over 100. They've got 12, and we've got one office that kind of manages that process for DOE. So we put out 2 sets of topics per year. These are those 12 research programs that I briefly went over. And this is basically and typically and usually the release that they participate in each year. The release 1, we're currently under a release 1 right now, and it's closed to all applications. But the Office of Advanced Scientific Computing Research, and these are the 4 programs that you usually will find in this release. The other 8 participate in the release of topics in release 2, and those topics come out in November next month. We are pulling together those topics as I speak right now. They should be in the next couple weeks, and we'll be finalizing those for November 9th planned release date. The release 1 topics come out in July, so you can find them around the end of the first week, second week in July. Here's a typical schedule. If we go back and look at release 1 there that I've circled, those 4 programs are participating in release 1, and this is the schedule that we follow. And I'll talk a little bit more about it, but the schedule is very important for you to understand and to follow, because it really drives everything in regards to when we do whatever we do. And when you need to respond, and when you can be in a passive learning mode, or when you need to be actively preparing your proposal and what you should be working on. I wanted to point out, if you're a first-time applicant applying to the Department of Energy SBIR programs, what you can do, if you go down to that 3rd bullet, we have a phase 0 program that opens up every time we release topics. And this is where we will assist you to put together a more competitive application. We'll help you with a little bit of market research. We'll help you with proposal prep and review. We won't write it. We have a contractor, Dawnbreaker, that's responsible for kind of being a second set of eyes and ears and helping you articulate what you're trying to do in the best way possible that makes it clear to us what you want to do and whether or not it is something that we would like to fund. Highly encourage you to take a look at that. You really only have to Google DOE SBIR Phase 0 and you'll find it. You can use this. I'll make these slides available at the end of my presentation for Misty and Martin to provide to you as well. But we do have real people who answer the phone as well. We have a great online learning, SBIR learning website. And we have a lot of resources under our applicant resources where you'll find probably pretty much the answer to everything you're looking for when applying for the Department of Energy SBIR program. So I mentioned we put out these topics twice a year, and we usually put these out 3 to 4 weeks prior to the funding opportunity announcement opening up. And we do that. That's another, I guess, a passive way to be involved with this release that isn't actually opened yet, to do your due diligence on whether or not you think this is something you would be responsive to. But these topics will provide you information that we tell you to take very literally as they are written. And you pretty much can figure out if you think you're that round hole and round peg and round hole situation, if it's a good fit. We do offer webinars that a week after the topic comes out, where you get to hear the topic managers discussing normally what they don't want to see, because it's pretty evident what they do want to see, but they'll tell you that, no, we don't want to see that. We funded that last year. We're looking for something on, in right field this year, not left field. But that you'll find some good information where you can actually text in your questions either at registration or during the live webinars themselves. They are recorded and they're on our website. This is just an example topic. Again, I told you it tells you just about everything you need here. The blue header at the top there tells you what the maximum phase 1 award and phase 2 award amount is. One of our common mistakes that I'll cover is that people will submit a budget that's greater than the phase 1 or 2 award amount that we are going to be funding it under. But anyway, every topic has a description. Every topic has subtopics, 1 or 2. Some of these have what's called an other subtopic. If you look down there at B, if you can see that on your screen, if it's not necessarily responsive, what you have, if it's not necessarily responsive to any of our subtopics, but it is to the overall topic description, then you can submit to the other subtopic. And of course, there's references and roadmaps and budgets and lots of other stuff that you can find under the references section. That's why we put them out about 3 to 4 weeks before, so the FOA opens up, so you are aware of whether or not this is something you want to invest in terms of your time, primarily putting together that application. So we have something called technology transfer opportunities. We have a very unique situation because the DOE has national labs. Most of our research funding goes out to our national labs and to our research universities. And really what these are you're able to leverage some of the prior research that has been done at usually at a national lab or one of our research universities, of course. And it's a way for you to get a head start on bringing a new technology to market by using their patented technology, and you will have rights to perform research on this. And it's really a pretty cool resource that the DOE is able to offer as part of its SBIR and STTR program. That's your funding opportunity announcement. Everything, as you've probably heard, everything you need to know about applying to the DOE will be inside this document. The topics are officially part of this document, but they are released 3 to 4 weeks prior to this one opening up. But once it opens up, the two are companion documents that work together. And the topics are what you're going to be preparing an application all about, and you'll be submitting it based on what you find here in the funding opportunity. As the difference between a grant and contract, another good thing to point out is how can you communicate with DOE's program managers. You can call them right now and talk with them. You can call them the day the topics are released and talk with them. But we encourage you really to read through all the material that we provide and maybe do a little bit more digging before you do that. But ultimately, as a grant, you can have a very specific discussion with your manager, with a program manager, without any of that information being posted on Fed Connect for others to read. You're helping us do research. You're not necessarily competing with someone else to do the exact same thing. You bring a unique and novel technology to us to address a situation. We're not looking for you to develop 10 widgets, the same 10 widgets to everybody at the same time. We're just looking for you to help, and we're looking for the most novel, effective way of doing that. Letter of intent, I'll be quick about this really. This is one thing that DOE requires that nobody else is requiring. And this is really, that just tells us who you are, what topic and subtopic you're applying to, and why you think you're responsive. We look for a little bit more information. It's usually a 1 or 2 page document. It's no more than 2 pages. But if you don't submit a letter of intent, then you're not eligible to submit a full application to the Department of Energy's SBI or STTR funding opportunity announcement. So it's a very important element of what we're doing. And the reason we do letters of intent is not really to give you feedback. It's really to tell us that we know that 75% of you that submit a letter of intent will end up submitting a full application. So what it does, it gives us an opportunity to begin looking for and securing the reviewers for our topics based on the numbers that have submitted in a letter of intent. We will give you a little bit of feedback if it does appear non-responsive, but it's not really enough for you to, I guess, write home about. It basically will say it doesn't appear that you are. It doesn't mean you can't submit. It just means that you might want to reach out to the program manager to try to get some more clarification if it's not clear to you why it's not responsive. These are the important elements of your application, your project narrative, your budget justification. We do have page and word limits. We do have budget limits. We do want key information on personnel. And we do want to know what your data management plan will be with the data that you generate from this. And we provide you templates and tell you how to do this and whether it's a commercialization plan or a data management plan. But there are some very important pieces that are required and that you need to be aware of. Some of the top application errors from year to year to year, these are always the same ones that our operations office puts out for us. Carl Hebron is in charge of our operations group. He's the guy that you might talk with when you're calling his office. He's got a team of that assists him in doing all of the logistical issues regarding applications. And they're the people who know everything you want to know about a DOE SBIR application. You do submit it through grants.gov, but it ultimately comes through into our system, and we pick it up from that point. But some of the serious errors are not, annually renewing your SAM registration. You didn't submit a letter of intent by the actual deadline. You can read these. There's a very specific level of effort that you need to reach. As an SBIR, the small business needs to be performing 2/3 of that research effort. Sometimes you do less than that, and you give it to a research institution above and beyond what they should be doing. We won't even review your proposal. If you submit it with a budget that's incomplete or it exceeds what we're looking for, we don't review it. And that's an administrative review that we do it, but it's not a technical review that you're always looking for. Another unique aspect of this, just a couple more slides here. We have one solicitation that comes out twice a year for both SBIR and STTR. We don't have separate solicitations for each. You can submit one application to be considered for an SBIR and STTR award, but you just need to make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements for each if you get selected for one or the other. And that usually, again, has to do with the level of effort and where is your principal investigator employed. We put 3 technical reviewers. We try to put 3 technical reviewers on every application. Sometimes we have more than that. But what they are doing is they are reviewing these for the technical merits. They're looking at the 3 criteria that every agency evaluates under. Is it a good idea? Do you have the right team in place to do it and facilities? And if you are successful, what do you anticipate that success looking like? Most of our Most of our reviewers come from the national labs, and then the other piece of that is from our universities where we fund, again, large research grants. So the vast majority come from them. People want to know where they come from, and there you see it right there. It's other duties is assigned essentially because we provide a lot of money. That's what they do. They're not getting paid for this. We do have some paid researchers that might be part of business and industry. Sometimes certain programs will use paid reviewers. Some will use government reviewers from a facility, but they're the minority in terms of how we affiliate our reviewers and where they come from. What is your success? If you look at on the right there, this was for FY 2020, phase one. We received for this 1,600 applications, made 400 awards plus awards. You'll see that 26% of that, that's 26%, 414 awards, applications were awarded. But what you see here is right underneath that 19%. These were recommended for funding, but they weren't awarded. So you can see we have a lot of people who are competing for this pot of money and 20% of them, almost 20% were recommended for an award, but didn't get that. And the reason they didn't get it is because each program looks at 5 criterion that will guide them on how best to rank the applications that they have received and why they need to fund it, based on another good reason to understand that program, based on their goals and objectives, what their mission is for that year or the next 3 to 5 years out. If you're submitting something that's been funded in the past or not funded, or it's not novel anymore, then it will not get recommended. It will not get funded. It may get recommended, but not rank high enough to be funded. And then that black area, the 6%, those are the folks that did not submit a complete application. Maybe they didn't include a commercialization plan, or they didn't include, they exceeded the budget or the level of effort, or they didn't do all of their required registrations on time. We do offer commercialization assistance. I'll just tell you, in phase one, we offer up to $6,500, and that's primarily to help you put together a phase 2 commercialization plan. In phase one, we go from a 1 to 2 page document in your application to a 15-page document in phase 2. So we do care deeply about what you're trying to do. And if we're going to provide you support, we want to make sure that you're at least think and know and are providing evidence that you're working in the right direction for that. Most of our program managers are not necessarily that literate in terms of the commercializability of what you're trying to do. So it's up to you to explain what you're doing there. Many of them do understand what's going on, but a lot of these folks are basic science researchers. That's where their background is. They're looking for you to know what you want to do, and for you to be able to communicate that is important to them. We do track it. This is an important part of the legislation, that we offer you support and that we encourage and provide you as much as we can with what we're given to move you forward in that way. We too also have an Energy I-Corps that is now under a pilot, and we are now in the process of selecting our first cohort. So if you do become a phase 1 awardee, you do have an opportunity to take part in our I-Corps program. And basically, all I want to point out here is that DOE is no longer game. Whereas the National Science Foundation wants to fund you in phase 1 and 2, and you're out the door, they don't fund you again. We may fund you for up to 7 years under the same topic. So you can get a phase 1 award for 1 year. You can compete and get your first phase 2 for 2 more years. And then you can get 2 more phase 2s. We have phase 2As and phase 2Bs, and now we have a phase 2C. And the A is for additional research that you need to do, maybe in a different direction. Bs are for moving toward commercializing what you have. You're getting close. And C is a kind of a cost-sharing arrangement where you've found somebody who's investing in you, and we will provide you funding in kind based on that. Something to keep in mind if you are looking for an agency for more longer-term research opportunities. And these are just, this is just a timeline, and it's with the package. I'll leave it here for you. It talks about A, B, and C, and when you would be eligible for that. All you got to do is open up the first 3 pages of any of our Phase 2 FOAs, and you can really find some great information about what a Phase 2 A, B, and C, and who is eligible for it are. And lastly, here I'll be happy to take questions from everybody or from anyone, and as much time as we have here. And there's some contact information. Basically, I just tell people to Google DOE SBIR. It's hard for me to remember our new website. It is right there. It's science.osd.gov/SBIR. You can just put that in there, and you can find our online learning microsite there, applicant resources, and a whole lot of good stuff. So why don't I go ahead and stop there, Misty, and let me know what I can do from that point.
All right. Martin, do you want to start asking some of the questions from the Q&A?
Chris, thank you very much indeed. That was a wealth of information. I thought that maybe we could start with some of our participants who wrote questions. And Paulo Portugal, if you're still with us, you're more than welcome to jump on. Is that possible, Misty and Hannah, to let Paulo ask? His is a fairly comprehensive question, and it has to do with his planned initiatives and so forth. Or should I read them? What would be best? Paulo, can you? I see you've showed up, so feel free if you wish to ask your questions.
There you go. Looks like you've unmuted.
Paulo, are you good to go, or I'm happy to ask your questions for you?
Please ask the question from me.
Okay.
Oh, well, we can hear you now, Paulo.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to let a lot of people like myself join this conference, and as well for all your assistance. It's very much appreciated, especially during these hard times. For that, I want to thank you, all of you. I'm on the transportation industry, which is been we've been in hibernation for the past 4 months due to the pandemic, because we provide transportation to hotels, theme parks, and so forth. But during these 3 or 4 months, we've been studying the current events, what's going on, and we learn we obtain a good deal of information, and we are on a path. Before we reopen, we are on a path to change the way we do business, and that includes not only renewable energy. We're going to get rid of all of our vehicles that combustion, that diesel or gasoline, and we're going to change them to electrical hydrogen. In addition to that, we're going to as well create workshops for all of our executives and staff that has to do with the scientific and work, equality and diversity, and as well business development to help us to shut down any future disasters. Because one thing is that the government give us grants to build a business. Other thing is for us to maintain that business alive. I think that would be the responsible thing for business owners to do. Now, my question is, because I'm part of the transportation industry, should I apply for grants on this matter to the Department of Energy or to the Department of the Transportation?
You know, Paulo, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I can tell you in terms of the Department of Energy's SBIR and STTR programs, there is no, there are no grants to help small businesses, purchase really anything. It doesn't matter if it's a hydrogen or electric vehicle, or even in terms of business development. I think a lot of this, I think there's varied places you can go to. The Small Business Administration would be an ideal place to go to look for small business loans and or grants of what might be available. In terms of the DOE, we are we're a research agency, so we're not really, we don't even, like, for example, with all of our SBIR and STTR awards that we make every year, we don't purchase probably over 98% of what is developed in this way. And the reason I say that is because, again, we're doing research. We might purchase some research instrumentation for some of our user facilities, but even that's a small commercial opportunity for an awardee. So we're not like the DoD that will be purchasing what you develop for us. So we are just a research agency. There may be things available for you, but what I would tell you is to reach out to the vehicles program in our Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. You can find their point of contact in our Release 2 topics that came out last November. Or you can wait till this November and open it up and look there, or you could just Google energy efficiency and renewable energy at DOE. And again, you'll find the vehicles program and funding opportunities that they make available through their program in that way.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I do appreciate very much for your elaborated presentation. That's what I thought. I thought basically in your presentation, you do more research and invest more in research than in purchases. But I do appreciate that for your answer. Thank you.
Sure thing. Thank you for the question.
Paulo, thank you very much indeed for that. Connor O'Brien, Chris, had a question with regard to an initiative that he's working on, an experimental geothermal reactor to support the grid here in Southern California. Is that an initiative that might fit under EERE?
It is. It is so yeah, the geothermal program is part of EERE. And they even participate. This is another reason for you to kind of, when you open up it would be in our Release 2 document that comes out in November. That's where you're going to find the geothermal topic and subtopics that are associated with it. But I think more importantly for you would be is to take a look at the topics. I don't think there's anything in there right now related to what you're doing, but you certainly could engage with the topic managers that you find the point of contact information with that program office to find out if there's any opportunities maybe they see coming in the future or that are available to you right now, either as a small business or maybe partnering with a larger entity that they might be funding in this area outside of SBIR.
Thanks, Connor. Let me ask you a universal question that Marcus, is asking. Do you have any sample phase 1 applications that prospects might be able to take a look at?
No, we don't.
Okay.
And we are working on putting together a template of sorts that provides guidance to you on how best to write and address certain areas like the project narrative and your budget. And so we're working on that right now. We have a contractor who's doing that, but it's almost impossible to get anybody to say you can use my application as an example of a good, as a good example or template for people to use. Nobody wants to put any of their technology out there and anything that's relevant anyway. So, and it's hard for us to tell you what's a good proposal because we have, to be honest with you, we have 12 different research programs that look for different things in their proposals. But they're, of course, they're looking for the 3 criteria, but what makes a good proposal at any one time may not always be, and it could be misleading for the future of what could be a proposal for the company or for the program you're looking to apply toward at any given time. It's kind of a catch-22 for us.
Yeah, so Connor, that's the same bugaboo that we deal with here at the University of California. These proposals that we do have are proprietary. So this is why we encourage you to work with us very, very closely. We do a deep dive with you on the content of your proposal. And our mantra is, you can take the pain and torture from us, or you can take it from the Department of Energy or another agency. The choice is yours. So suffer with us, and you'll probably have a better chance of a quality proposal. At least that's been the case so far. Daniel had a question, Chris, with regard to his rare earths out of raw coal initiative. Are there any DOE department priorities that you think may be important for Daniel to focus on?
Yeah, Daniel, we do have several topics that deal with rare earth elements and things of that nature. So I think if you take a look at both our release 1 and release 2, topics will have something in that way. In regards to military applications, it's not anything that we don't get involved in. We do get involved, but not through the SBIR, STTR. Nothing sensitive, secret, top secret, confidential, or proprietary that we have is involved, or anything with military applications. We're not moving in that direction with SBIR at all.
Got it. Amir asked a question with regard to a mouthful, computation quantum, that is to say quantum computation. I think you had indicated that it is closed. Is it going to open again, and if so, when?
It'll open in July. Yeah, so our topics that deal with this are quantum information sciences and our AI, artificial intelligence, our robotics. Most of those are in our release 1 topics document that comes out in July. And so that's where you're going to find those topics in July. There may be some in, well, you know, I'm not entirely sure, because we have not been offering these topics. This is only the second time we've offered those topics. It's possible that our QI, our quantum information sciences, there may be something in release 2. I don't know what those topics are yet. As I mentioned earlier, we've done a call for those topics. They should be coming in by the end of the month. So I'll have a better idea, of course, around the same time you will. But check back on November 9th. And I tell everybody usually to subscribe to our email list, because what we'll do is the day that they're released, we'll send you a link that you can click on. You can go right to the topics document. You can see the webinars, topic webinars that are associated with this document, phase 0 assistance. Everything I've kind of talked with you about will be kind of in that email. So if you subscribe to it, you can get it, and you can always unsubscribe if you don't want to receive anything else.
Thanks, Chris. Guillermo has a question that is near and dear to my heart and a lot of us here. We, as I indicated, we work very closely with universities throughout South America, Latin America, Chile, extensively Colombia. Guillermo is from Nicaragua, and his question was with regard to SBIR candidates performing research or having partnerships with universities. And I'll extend that a little bit further with companies out of South America. What are the key constraints and restrictions here, if any?
Yeah, it's a big constraint. By statute, the money, almost without exception, all SBIR, STTR funding is taxpayer dollars that Congress is very much interested in us spending on their constituents as a U.S. citizen. It doesn't mean that you can't have somebody come over and work with you here domestically with your initiative and bringing their expertise from wherever they're coming. If they are authorized to work in the United States, then you're more than welcome to use them as part of your research team here domestically, but not providing funding to a foreign entity to do domestic research, for a domestic research program.
Got it. Terrific. And Blanche Heron has a question. She has patents on safety items for folks with disability. One's with solar and 5G, that is to say, technology. The other's an app with EV vehicles, electronic vehicles, and so forth, sensor technology. Is there a special area within the Department of Energy which might be the best opportunity for her to look into and possibly pursue?
So there's a lot in that question. So you
Yeah.
deal with disability, safety items for disability, solar, 5G. I heard in there sensor technology. So what I would say to you, Blanche, is that you know your technology and abilities and your current portfolio better than anybody. So I would tell you to take a look at our topics yourself. Because what you're going to find is these are different programs that you know, the solar is different from sensor technology, though it could be solar sensor technology, but it could be you might have technologies that is applicable to many other programs that we have. So I would tell you, take a look at our release of topics and kind of narrow down more specifically what you think is your best bet at the Department of Energy. We have all of that involved somewhere, but I'm not very, you know, we don't have enough time to figure out what specifically you're doing right here and now, but take a look at that, or you can call me later and we can chat and go through one at a time, kind of like if you have a quad chart, we can do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, everyone who made appointments for Chris and other agency program directors should have filled out the equivalent of the quad chart online. Those are very important. Daniel, we do have, we just have a couple of minutes. I'm wondering if it might be helpful for you to reach out to Chris directly, or we can coordinate that, choreograph the connection here. There are loads of other individuals who have fantastic questions here. And we're going to record them all. And Chris, with your permission and blessing, of course, perhaps I know we're running out of time here, and we're really grateful for your time and your answers here. Perhaps if we can collect the ones that we did not ask, if not all of them, would it be okay if we sent them to you?
Absolutely. And anyone, you know, look, I can put in my in the chat box, I can put my email address, and people can reach out to me directly. And you know, we're not hiding anywhere. We're not in the office, but I'll put to all panelist attendees. That's my email address. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have at any time, and we can chat. We can, you know, I'll take a look at your quad chart. We can have discussions. So we can do our own Zoom session, and we can look at our website and go through that, and we can show you where things are, resources for you.
That is terrific. And everybody, Misty and I do have a quad chart template. And we also have a slide deck which guides you how to most productively and effectively prepare for, to prepare your quad chart and to prepare for meeting with Chris as well. And we're very happy. We do have that online with our conference announcements and so forth, but very happy to send those as well to you. And that will enable you to be that much more efficient and productive with the time that Chris will be able to work with you. So with that, Chris, we are very grateful. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you join us again for year number 2. Don't be surprised if you get another email for year number 3. So get ready for that.
All right, I hear you.
But anyway,